And good morning. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're having a great day. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Looks like we've got several people in the live video audience this morning. Good morning, Amani. Good morning, Ashley. Good to see both of you. Hope you're doing well. It's a beautiful but chilly Friday. Hope everybody's got plans for the weekend. Good morning, Sarah. Good to see you. Good to see you. Fantastic. Everybody ready for the exam this weekend? Hooray, right? Good morning, Melody. Good to see you. Fantastic. Wow. Thanks for everybody who stopped in today. So what are we going to talk about today? Looks like we're going to talk about exam 2. Yay, right? Okay. So let's talk about the basics for this exam. So for exam 2, you've got 50 questions. You've got 60 minutes to do those 50 questions, and those questions are a mix of multiple choice, matching, and true false. There will be no short answer on this exam. The man with many names. What name will you be using today, the man with many names? What are you? Hi, Gloria. Good to see you. Or, I forget what, oh, who is that? It's masquerading as Gloria. Who is it that's masquerading as Gloria? I forget. Is that a Zulu? Is that who that is? Masquerading as Gloria? Aluzu. It is you, Aluzu. Oh, hi, Noah. Good to see you. Thanks. All right, so this is the basic format of the exam. 13 questions for Chapter 5, 6 questions for Chapter 6, 13 questions for Chapter 7, and 12 questions for Chapter 8. Do the math, that is 50 questions. Okay? Fantastic. Okay. So let's talk about Chapter 5. All right, let's see. Hold on. Let me get back to my exam. Okay. Let's see. Question display, full text. Okay. So, one question on lobes of the brain and sensory cortices, right? So I want you to be able to tell me in which lobe of the brain each of the sensory cortices is. So for example, can anyone tell me which lobe of the brain is the auditory cortex in? Can somebody type that in the chat bar? Which lobe of the brain is the auditory cortex in? Here's another one. Which lobe of the brain is the visual cortex in? Can anybody tell me? Melody, you are right. The auditory cortex is in the temporal lobe. Very good, Noah. Great job. And of course, the occipital lobe. Fantastic, Aluzu. Absolutely. So I've got a matching question where you have to match the lobe of the cerebral cortex with the different, the lobe of the brain with the cerebral cortex that you're going to see in it. Let's see, I've got two questions on, let's see. Yep. 2 questions on rods and cones. Okay. There's 1 question on transduction. What is it? Okay. There is 1 question on Gestalt vision cues and 1 question on monocular depth cues. And you're going to have to identify examples. Okay, you're going to have to identify examples. Uh-oh. By the way, I'm sorry. Let me, do I have the screen so you can see it now? All right, sorry. 1 question on lobes of the brain and sensory cortex, 2 questions on rods and cones, 1 question on transduction, what is it? And then I've got 2 questions on examples of Gestalt and monocular depth cues. So one question, I'm going to ask you to identify the monocular depth cues in a picture. For the second question, I'm going to give you one of the Gestalt vision principles of vision, and you're going to have to tell me which one it is. Okay, one question on why do we have a blind spot? I got a question there. Okay, let's see. 1 question, 2 question, 3 question. Bye-bye. Okay, so there's 1 question on hearing, 1 question on smell, and one smell, let's see. Smell, 1 question on hearing, 1 question on smell, 1 question on taste. Okay, so we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's see. Uh-oh, 2 questions on. Oh, okay, actually, and then there's 1 question on smell and taste together. And then let's see. Remember, experimental psychologists study the senses. I do want you to know that. And then let's see, sound, vision. Oh, and 1 question on association cortexes or cortices. What do they do? Okay, let me make sure everybody can see that. What do they do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 questions. Any questions on chapter 5? The optic disc. Yes, absolutely. The optic disc, and more specifically, what structure is leaving the brain, Melody? What structure is leaving the brain? Okay. By the way, can anybody tell me what transduction is? Who knows what transduction is? What did we say transduction is? Very good. So let's see. And what does an association cortex do? Do you folks know? Go ahead and type your answers in the chat bar and let me know. So, what is in the optic disc? What's leaving the eyeball where the blind spot is, Melody Webb? Can somebody tell me what transduction is? And can somebody tell me what happens in association cortices? I'm hoping to see somebody typing answers in the chat bar. Interpreting a sensory signal. Yes, turning that sensory signal into a pattern of neural impulses. Remember, transduction, Brian, is turning chemical information or light information or waveform information into patterns of neural activities. Yes, Melody, the optic nerve is where the blind spot is. The optic disc, the optic nerve, fantastic. And the Andrea Nicole says the association cortices combine sensory experiences to make more complex ones. Yes, yes, and yes, absolutely. All of you are right. And if you know those things, you should not have a problem with chapter 4, right? Now, if you'll remember, let me see where it is. Where is it? I don't remember where I stuck this sucker. Is it in downloads? No, I don't think it's in downloads. Oh well, no big deal. No big deal. Okay, so that is chapter 5. Does anybody have any questions on chapter 5? I'm going to go ahead and flip over the piece of paper now and go on to chapter 6. Okay, so let's see. Chapter 6, 12 questions. All right, chapter 6, 12 questions. Let's see what we got for chapter 6. Okay, let's see. Questions in the set, full text. Okay, there's a question on the parts of systematic desensitization. What are the two things you need to do systematic desensitization? Can somebody tell me? What do you need if you're going to use systematic desensitization to help me lose my fear of spiders? What two things will you need? Okay. I want you to know. Oh, we didn't talk about that. I wonder if anybody's taken the question yet. There's one question on spontaneous recovery, and that's classical conditioning. I don't think I went over that in lecture. Go ahead and read that on your own. Okay, I am so sorry. I don't think I got that one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 questions on classical conditioning. What is a UCS? What is a UCR? What is a CS and what is a CR? Identify examples. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example, and it's going to be important for you to be able to figure out the 4 parts of classical conditioning. Okay, let's see. Actually, you know what? There are 2 questions on that. There's 1 question on that, and there are 4 questions on that. Excuse me, 2 questions, 1. I shouldn't be numbering them that way. That's confusing. Okay, let's see. There's 1 question on shaping. So we got 1, 2, 3, 7, 8 shaping. And let's see, what is shaping? What is a successive approximations? Okay. And 1 on just the behaviorist perspective. Can anybody tell me why didn't behaviorists like to study the mind? What was their problem with studying the mind? Can anybody tell me? Brian, oh yeah, by the way, Brian answered the question about systematic desensitization. You need a relaxation technique and you need a fear hierarchy, Brian, a fear hierarchy. Great. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where are my other 2 questions? Let's see. Fear hierarchy. Okay. And then there are 2 questions on punishers versus reinforcers. And that's 12 questions. 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. Lack of scientific studies. They got different outcomes. They argued, they thought the environment was everything, absolutely. And they also thought that there was really no way to measure the mind. That's why they were called. There you go, Tiffany. It was hard to measure the mind. That's really what I wanted to see. Fantastic. Good job, Tiff. Good job. Okay, so that's chapter 6. Everybody got that? Chapter 6. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, so let's say Chapter 7, 13 questions. That's a terrible 3. 13 questions. Can you see that? All right, let me see, make sure I've got mine in the correct area so that you can see 13 questions. Okay, if everybody's ready, we got 13 questions. All right, so what's involved in this? Can you remind me the parts of systematic desensitization? Absolutely, Aluzu. Absolutely. So if you remember, for classical, actually, you know what? Let me go back to my whiteboard. It'd be better if I just go back to my whiteboard. For systematic desensitization, hold on, let me flip it over. For systematic desensitization, okay, you need a fear hierarchy, and you need a relaxation technique, right? And this is a list of things related to feared object, right? And this is a way to achieve positive feeling. And then if you remember, what we do is we try to associate the positive feeling with different levels of the fear hierarchy. So let's say your phobia is spiders. The first thing I would do was teach you how to relax and then present you with the word spider. Once you were able to maintain relaxation while looking at the word spider, I would then show you a picture of the spider, and we would have to learn how to maintain our relaxation while looking at a picture of a spider. Exactly. Melody has got a good point. If you want to see it written, Brian did answer that in a really good way, I thought. That was great. That was absolutely great. Okay. So, let me see how there we go, chapter 7. Okay. So, chapter 7, let's see. 1. Oh, crap. Okay. 2 questions on elaborative versus maintenance rehearsal. Okay. One question about memory in general. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3. 3 questions on the Atkinson-Shiffrin model of memory. Okay. Let's see. Um. Hmm. Hmm. Let me check. Hold on. Sorry, folks. Okay. One question about episodic memories. How easy is it to change an episodic memory? Okay, let's see. Part of the brain that remembers faces. Can anybody tell me what part of the brain is it that remembers faces? Okay, let's see. Oh, one question on parts of the brain and different memories. So can anybody tell me what part of your brain is responsible for procedural memories, for knowing how to remember behaviors? Can anybody tell me which part of your brain? Yes, Brian Wilson, the fusiform gyrus, Melody Webb, fusiform. Which part of our brain is responsible for behaviors, well-learned behaviors, automatic behaviors? Can somebody tell me? There's actually, you know what? Another question on uh, identify examples of episodic memories. Okay. Um, difference between explicit and implicit or procedural memories. Let's see. Cerebellum for habits and behaviors. Absolutely. Absolutely, Andrea. You are quite right about the procedural memories. You are quite right about the procedural memories. Let's see. Yep. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's see. Example of different parts of the brain and different memories. You know what? Probably let's put that question right there. Two questions on parts of the brain and different memories. If you had damage to your hippocampus, what would you have trouble doing? Can somebody tell me? Remembering old memories or making new memories? If you had damage to your temporal lobe, okay, so if you had damage to your hippocampus, would you have trouble accessing old memories or making new memories? Forming new memories, very good, Luzu. If you had damage to your temporal lobe, would you have difficulty forming new memories or remembering old memories? Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Yes, absolutely. The hippocampus is responsible for making new memories. If you had damage to your temporal lobe and only, what would you have difficulty doing? Remembering old memories, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to play that game on the exam. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back to this. Let me go back to this. Old memories. Okay, 1, 2, that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 questions. Okay, 12 questions. Fantastic. Okay, and let's go to chapter 8. Chapter 8. All right, chapter 8. 12 questions. Okay. Oh, did I say 13? I did say 13, right. Uh, please match the memory. Select explicit memories, select episodic memories. You're right. Oh, excuse me. I forgot the obvious question. Let me go back to this one. 13 questions. What invention important for cognitive? I forgot that one. Same question as on your homework. So go to your homework. If you got it wrong on your homework, get it right on your exam. Okay. Thank you, Melody. Thank you, Andrea. I am so sorry. I forgot the obvious question. The computer. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. Thank you for catching me. I was going to make a mistake with that one. Okay. All right. 12 questions. 12 questions for chapter 8. Let me get the 12 questions for chapter 8. Okay. Okay, one question on types of IQ tests. All right. So I mentioned lots of different IQ tests, and I suggested that each one of them had different uses, different values. So, for example, the Wonderlic IQ test is very popular in business settings. I want you to know that the ASVAB is very popular and it is used in the military. I want you to know that the Woodcock Johnson is the most popular paper and pencil. So this is a matching question where you match the type of IQ test with their use. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. I want you to know what predictive validity is. I talked to you about the different types of validity. One of the values of IQ test is that it has predictive values. It tells us whether or not you should be doing well in school. If you're not doing well in school, but your IQ is still in the normal range, we then begin to suspect that you have a learning disorder, okay? Let's see. One, two questions on newer theories of intelligence. Remember, that's Gardner and Sternberg's theories. I have a PowerPoint on those. You should be familiar with those. Okay. Question. How does IQ change as we get older? And that's a question on fluid versus crystallized IQ. There's a question on that. Know how IQ changes as we get older. Okay, let's see. What is the limitations of IQ tests? I told you that IQ tests have lots of values, but what are their limitations? What do they not do, right? Remember, I suggested to you that intelligence is larger than an IQ test, and an IQ test only measures one type of intelligence. So I want you to know that. Okay, let's see. Two questions on the difference between aptitude tests versus achievement tests. All right. And then one question, interpret an IQ score. So my question to you, let's do an interpretation of an IQ score. If I tell you that Sally takes an IQ test and scores 105, what would you say about her IQ? Does she have average IQ, above average IQ, or is she gifted with an IQ of 105? What is that? Average. Very good, Melody. If John scores an IQ of 92, what is John's IQ? Is he below average, average, or does he have an intellectual disability? Again, average. Okay. VJ has an IQ of 125. How would you characterize VJ's IQ? VJ, IQ of 125. What would you say? Oh, nope. Between 115 and 130 would be above average. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Cool. Very good. And then let me see a couple more questions. Okay. I want you to know one question about, you know what? There are two questions on predictive validity of IQ tests. Two questions on that now that I'm looking at it. Let's see. Settings where you will see IQ tests used. And then there is one question on Binet's IQ test. The first. Uh-oh, excuse me. Excuse me. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Right? I'm glad you wrote that down. Excuse me. Did I hit the right chart? I'm typing down notes. Binet's IQ test. The first IQ test. Okay, so I've got a question where I want you to know all about Binet's IQ test, right? If you remember, he compared mental age to chronological age. If you remember, this test was good at evaluating children's IQ, but it was not very good at evaluating adult IQ. And if you remember, he found out what the average child knew by looking at, he normed the test by looking at what the average French child could do. Okay, so let's see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 questions. Okay. All right. So, folks, that, my friends, is the exam review. Does anybody have any questions about what is on the exam? Is there anything I can describe to you? Anything I can explain? Anything you heard today on the review session that maybe you're not clear about? Where can I direct you in your notes so that you do well on this exam? Can anybody tell me? Yes, yes, no, maybe so. Talk to me, class. Okay. Oh, by the way, hi, Cole. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Sarah King, thanks for coming. Those of you that came in after we got started and I didn't have a chance to say hello to. Okay, you know what? That's all I have to share. Uh, remember, the exam is due by 11:59 Sunday night. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send me a text or an email, and I will help you out as quickly as I can. Cool. Have a great day. Take care, and I will see you next Tuesday in webinar. Okay? Good. I'm glad, Aluzu. I just want to make sure that I direct you so that you can do the best on the exam. I do hope you learned some of this psychology stuff. You know, I don't know how much you have learned this semester, but I'm hoping that you're putting some interesting facts and interesting knowledge about human psychological functioning in your brain this semester. And so, whatever it takes to help you. Uh, good idea. Glory, Aluzu. Here's the deal. The regular lectures, the Tuesday and Thursday morning lectures will happen at the same time. However, next week's webinars, the Tuesday night webinar will be moved to Wednesday night. That's a good point, Gloria. The Tuesday morning stuff, Tuesday, Thursday morning stuff stays the same. It's only that webinar Tuesday night that's going to be moved to Wednesday night. That's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up, Aluzu. All right, folks, y'all take care. Have a great day. I will see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.